Hey everybody, this is William from the Godzilla Files, coming at today with a new video. And before we jump into this video about Mothra versus Godzilla, I just want to take a little time to talk. So, funny enough, as I was kind of planning this month's videos, I was making them all based around the idea of meeting Akira Takarada at G-Fest. And as some of you know, that he is no longer going to be at G-Fest, which, obviously sucks for everyone involved. I'm sure everyone wanted to meet him. That was one of the big reasons why I was going this year. But honestly, at the end of the day, his health is the most important thing. So hopefully he gets better real quick and we can see him next year. Now, I kind of, as I was saying, plan my videos around all this. So I was kind of trying to think of other videos to do, but at the end of the day, I really do want to talk about Mothra versus Godzilla. It is one of my favorite Godzilla films. So, without further ado, let's jump right into this review. So the first thing I would like to talk about is the actual film itself. It was one of the earlier Godzilla films that I did see growing up, but it actually wasn't one of my favorites. I kind of found it boring. I didn't like Mothra. I didn't understand how a moth could beat Godzilla at such a young age. And I really kind of ignored it growing up pretty much. It just wasn't a film that was on my radar for such a long time. And then all of a sudden I kind of started rewatching the Godzilla series again. I was collecting the DVDs and Blu-rays and I just kind of started watching them over again. And I really came to find that Mothra vs. Godzilla is probably one of the best Showa films ever made. And, I'm not counting the original obviously, but as far as sequels go, this is probably the best one. I like the tone of this film. I think the tone is perfect for a Showa era Godzilla film. It really does a lot of things right. And I think this is a film that it's hard for maybe a younger viewer to really appreciate, but as you get older, it really does grow on you. And I can definitely say that. It really did grow on me. It is definitely in my top 5 films of all time. One of the reasons why it's such a great film is because of the characters. And I kind of touched on this a little bit in my last character spotlight video. Akira Takarada's character is great, but also the cast is pretty amazing. I don't want people to think this was just a one-man show. Every character in this film is actually really good. They all serve a purpose and they all play their roles perfectly. You have the sleazy corporate, head of a company that is just a bad guy. Those two are by far my least favorite characters, and that's what they should be. I hate them so much. They work so well because 1, they feel very real, and 2, the actors that are portraying them are very good. During this period of time, there were a lot of the same actors used, and all of them are really good. Without a doubt, I think some of the 60s Godzilla films have some of the best acting in them, and this film probably has it the best. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that, along with the characters, the story is pretty good. It isn't about space aliens, it's about corporate greed and all the terrible things that it brings about. And this is something that I think everyone can understand. I think people like having these cautionary tales, and it really does move all the events along nicely. It never gets bogged down in overcomplicated things. So, between the characters all being enjoyable and the story moving at a brisk pace, I think this film works. While it's important that you have great human characters, you need kaiju to have a kaiju film. And in this film, Godzilla is done so good. I love the fact that he just feels so menacing. His costume really portrays him as a monster and somewhat of a force of nature. He just destroys everything that stands in his way. You see him get really beat up in this movie. The army tries to throw everything at him and it does not stop him. The Godzilla suit in King Kong vs. Godzilla is so bulky and so massive, but he feels like an unstoppable force. This one, they kind of do the same thing and still make him out to be that way, but they kind of do it a little differently. Everything that the army tries to do, as I was just saying, doesn't work. And this is the film that really shows that Godzilla pretty much isn't something to be messed with. You can't defeat him unless you have some kind of special weapon. The other thing is the suit, as I was kind of saying, is just done so well. I love the fact that it's not as bulky as the last film, so the actor inside can really do things with his performance. And I think it does come across that way. Now, Godzilla fights Mothra in this film, and I actually do really like this puppet. I definitely like Mothra a lot. I like when she's bigger. I don't like a small Mothra, as we kind of saw as the series went on. She might not be the same size as Godzilla, and she might not be as big as she was in her first film, but I think her being as big as she is does kind of help you believe that she has maybe somewhat of a fighting chance. The other part is the new Mothras that hatch out of the egg. I like them as well. There's nothing wrong with them. I think they work perfectly. I actually like the fact they defeat Godzilla the way they do. I think they were kind of riding themselves into a corner because they realized that how are they going to stop Godzilla? Godzilla. They spent a whole entire movie building him up, and so what better way to do it than having these two little larvas defeat him? But, you know, I will always still have an issue with Godzilla losing. You know, as much as I say I'm okay with it, you know, it's hard to believe, but they do a good enough job. Another piece to this film that I really like is the music. The music itself is great. I can't say enough about it. I love Godzilla's theme and how it's used here. You know, even Mothra's music is great. You know, there are some themes that kind of play over and over again, but it still really works. And on top of that, when you kind of start seeing special effects that go along with it, everything comes together nicely. And that's the thing, like the special effects here are great. I can't say enough about them. I truly do love this era of special effects. You know, they're right on the cusp of kind of figuring everything out. Some of the things might not work as well as maybe they hoped and doesn't hold up today, but you can really see a lot of the techniques that they were kind of perfecting throughout this series, all kind of starting here. And it's just a great film to watch because of that, because you kind of say, oh wow, you know, I can't believe in like 1964 they were able to do some of the things that they were doing. And I think this film really turns a corner for the series. And I think as the movies go on, the special effects get better and better. They build upon this film. Alright everybody, let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this film. Is it one of your favorites or is it one of your least favorites? You know, I always love hearing what you guys think. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will talk to you all later.